Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Yes, indeed, this is good old MF Michael Fletcher back from, I guess you could say, a 2-day sabbatical. Work commitments beyond my control knocked me out of Wednesday night and Thursday night, but I do want to give major props to Anthony Florio for filling in on Wednesday night, doing an unbelievable job alongside Michael Bullock doing Wednesday Night Mayhem, which was without a doubt one of the most wildest Wednesday Night Mayhems we've ever had, where both AEW and NXT both delivered unbelievable shows, to say the very least. I don't know how you guys rated one over the other. I thought it was an absolute draw. This past Wednesday night, with a slight victory to AEW, especially after I'll admit it, the 5-star classic we witnessed, and without a doubt, the greatest women's match in the history of AEW between Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, as they literally tore down the Daily's place in the unsanctioned lights out match. Without a doubt, the women's fight of the year for 2021. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, tough act to follow. We're going to have to see how it goes next week, but we're going to be talking about WWE tonight, and we're talking about Smackdown Live, and we got a preview of Fastlane that will be on not only the WWE Network, but for all you fans out there on Peacock in the United States, this is the first official WWE pay-per-view event that will be going down this Sunday night inside the Thunderdome, and this will be the last pay-per-view till WrestleMania. And for all you fine folks out there, tickets have gone on sale today for WrestleMania 37. That's going to be going down live from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, the home of the new, reigning, defending NFL Super Bowl world champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they're definitely going to be firing the cannons off, Bucky, on that night. And they're going to be blowing more than just pyro for WrestleMania. But before we get there, we got to get into SmackDown Live. So we started it off tonight with the first fight of the night, which was a women's title match. Yeah, SmackDown women's title on the line. As it was Sasha Banks putting the title on the line against Nia Jax, and the winner of the bout in a total amount of airtime. Now, this is different because there was a commercial in place, but total amount of air of 6 minutes and 7 seconds, and still the SmackDown Women's Champion, the boss, Sasha Banks, this was all over the place. All right, so the match itself was okay. It was pretty good. You know, Sasha carried Nia through the match, which we all expected, but the outcome of the match was never in doubt. How were they going to get to the ending was very interesting. Now, before the match, Sasha and Bianca got into a little bit of a tiff, a little spat, because of the fact that, once again, Reginald's name got thrown out. And Bianca's like, are you kidding me? Reginald? You're still about that? And Sasha's like, no, I'm not about that. I'm not, he's not in my mind. He's not on my wavelength. She's like, you know what? You got to get your head straight, because I want to win on Sunday night for the SmackDown Women's Tag Team titles. And I can't have you thinking about Reginald or any other thing except winning on. And she's like, you know what? I'm done with it. I don't care. let me show you how a legit boss gets it done. By myself, no help. And walked out to go to the ring. Shayna Basler was with Nia Jax. And we were like, where's Reginald? Because he's been hanging around. Fortunately for all of us, it was determined by Nia Jax to give Reginald a spa day. Meaning, Reginald was not in the Thunderdome. Thank God. So, the match goes. During the match, Nia did get the upper hand on Sasha Banks. That prompted Bianca to come out. But she was just cheering her on, nothing more, nothing less. So, then it broke down. It looked like Shayna Baszler was going to try to get involved, trying to interfere. Bianca tries to cut her off at the pass. The referee gets in the way. So you're thinking prime opportunity for Shayna Baszler to hit Sasha Banks. Sasha moves and ducks Nia Jax. That led to basically Sasha taking out Shayna. She rolls her up in a pinning combination. 1, 2, 3, Sasha wins. She successfully defends the title. And if you notice, she was telling Bianca, I did it on my own. I didn't have any help. Bianca's like, okay. Yeah, all right, I'll give you this. Yeah, I kind of did help you, but all right, hey, if this is how you feel, good for you. At least you won. You kept the belt. And you know what? Your head's on straight. Now let's go get the the SmackDown Tag Team titles on Sunday night at Fastlane. So, WWE Women's Tag Team titles on the line. This is going to be very interesting to watch. It was a good fight. I'll give it 2.5 stars. I'll be fair with this. I'm happy there was no Reginald stuff. Reginald was not involved, so we can't say nothing bad about that. At least the women got to do their own storyline progression via this way. And this actually makes it more compelling because now you notice that there's 4 combustible elements that's ready to explode at any moment. Sasha and Bianca, they're somewhat on the same page, and sometimes are not on the same page. Nia and Shayna are in a whole different level. It's clear Shayna is not happy with Nia. She never wanted Reginald in their camp. You can notice the disdain that Shayna Baszler has for Reginald, but Nia continues to force the issue, thinking that that's going to cause a rift that will help, that will not only keep the belts on them, but more importantly, create the rift that's going to be the problem that will be the downfall for Sasha and Bianca. But if you notice, it's really hindering the tag team now, and now all bets are off on Sunday night how this plays out. So, nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's all yours to try to dissect all this mess that's going on with the women's tag team titles.
I love a challenge. I'm ready. Let's go. So, well, I'll tell you, MF. This preview of Sunday's women's tag team title match, in which Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will defend against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, was a welcome change to the tired formula. There was no long, bloated in-ring promo used to set up the night's main event. Instead, we had a brief backstage back and forth that directly transitioned into a high-profile title bout. This match was a solid one that forced Banks to fight from underneath, and an alert Belair, knowing full well she has greater odds of leading WrestleMania 37 with the SmackDown Women's title if she faces the Boss instead of the Irresistible Force, appearing to support her. Corey Graves calling out Basler for possibly intentionally kicking Jax was an interesting development. Jax fought for the title here, and if she had won, it almost certainly would have taken up her focus, leaving her tag title reign with Basler to suffer. Did the Queen of Spades purposely cost Jax to benefit herself? That's certainly one interpretation. What is for certain is Sunday night, two teams battling for the women's tag titles have their own tension to overcome if they wish to leave the event with the gold. As a result, an otherwise pedestrian match features considerable drama for the creative team and performers to draw from. I'm with you, MF. I'll make it a solid 2.5 as well. So not much more to say here. Phenom, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the developments within this women's situation?
Yeah, this is definitely a crazy development in the SmackDown Women's division with what, especially with what we're seeing here, especially what we saw tonight. Yeah, I'll give it about 2.5 stars. I agree with you. Yeah, you could see. I mean, Nia and with bringing Reginald in was hoping to cause a rift with Sasha Banks and Bianca Belaire. But the only problem, Shayna Basler is not a big fan of Reginald being on their side because you could just see she despises him. It's like, Nia, what the hell are you doing? We don't need this guy on our side. Well, we'll see how it all develops, especially when it comes to this Sunday, whether it backfires or not. So yeah, so 2.5 stars is my rating. So let's move on, Fletch.
Yeah, and with that said, we do indeed move on. And the next thing that we had on the show here tonight, well, there was a promo that was done by Seth Rollins, interrupted by Nakamura, and that basically was an interesting development, to say the very least. And it actually led to a match that we can now confirm at Fastlane. We're getting it. It's going to be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. Oh my goodness. What a matchup that's going to be. But then we had ourselves a little bit of a 2-for-1 angle in tag team matches. So we had was, first off, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, were in commentary, hanging with Michael Cole and with Corey Graves. And it led to our first match of the night, which was the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. They went up against the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic, and the Mysterios wins the match in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Then, right after that, then the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis, they came out and they kind of was like, you know what? You know, you guys got, look, congratulations. You got a big win. Good for you guys. But you guys are not going to beat us. There's no way you're going to beat us. We've been dominating you guys for the last few weeks, the whole 9 yards. Well, they had the fight, and the Alpha Academy wins the match in 4 minutes and 41 seconds. All right, Anthony. I mean, this is very interesting. For the first time in a long time, I think we can say the SmackDown Tag Team titles are being prominently spotlighted because we got a possible fatal 4-way on our hands right now. We got the Tag Team Champions and 3 worthy challengers to that title.
Oh my. The SmackDown Tag Team division is significantly ahead of its Raw counterpart, with 4 teams really establishing themselves as credible championship threats. The match between the Street Profits and Mysterios was all energy, a babyface heavy match that gave the Mysterios a much-needed win, only to have the uber-aggressive Chad Gable and Otis ruin their celebration and beat them immediately after. Meanwhile, the champs sat back and talked trash on commentary, hyping themselves up despite a noticeable lack of title defenses since winning the titles. This will all come to a head, presumably at Fastlane or in a multi-team bout at WrestleMania. But all signs point to Ziggler and Rude having to pay the proverbial piper in the form of a massive title defense against their top contenders. So I don't really know how to rate the matches. The first one, I would probably give it about 2 to 2.5. Say it was a fun little sprint. The other probably about the same. So really don't know how to rate the matches, honestly. So, but that's all there is to say there. So Michael Bullock, I mean, we talk about the women's stuff being crazy. We got craziness in the tag team division now.
Boy, you ain't kidding with that. I mean, we definitely got some craziness in the tag team division because now we got 3 teams who think that they deserve an opportunity at the SmackDown tag team titles. So we could have some kind of a fatal 4-way. I mean, I don't know when it's going to happen. Could they save it for WrestleMania? I mean, it's possible, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'll give both matches 2.5. I mean, a fun little sprint, but it's tough to rate matches the way we just saw it right here. So I don't know what else is there to say, Fletch. All I can say is, what's going on with your tag team division?
I love it. Finally, there's some prominence in the tag team division. Finally, WWE has decided to do something about the SmackDown tag team titles. And they're giving us a possible fatal 4-way at WrestleMania. You know what? If they do that, look, they've built it really good. They could, make an overbooked finish where you could get all the teams to get involved and let them battle it for the title at WrestleMania. I mean, it'd be perfect to do. I mean, it's incredible what they've done. The build, if this is being billed as a possible fatal 4-way for WrestleMania, they've done this beautifully done. It is incredible what SmackDown has done. And once again, the land of opportunity, being with the storyline progression, is making it work. It's incredible what they've done. And I'm so enthralled, and I can't wait to see what they do at WrestleMania with this. This is pretty awesome. I love it. Guys. Nothing more to say. So next up we had was a promo by Daniel Bryan, interrupted. It wasn't really it was interrupted by Roman Reigns. They got into a little bit of a tiffy. Really nothing more to add. Next up we had was Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. Corbin wins the match in 2 minutes and 3 seconds, but there was one thing that was very interesting. Out at ringside, you had was the one and only Kevin Owens. Owens was cutting a promo on the just talking. There was a little bit of some debate about this so-called conspiracy that Sami Zayn was trying to convince Kevin Owens that there's a conspiracy going on. Kevin watched the match intently and's like, you know what? I didn't see no conspiracy. I'm sorry. I didn't see nothing wrong here. You lost. I don't know what's wrong with you, man, but you're losing it. You're mentally unstable right now. Oh boy, did that have some ramifications. Just like the days of NXT when Kevin Owens did that pop-up powerbomb on Sami Zayn with the on the ring apron, Sami Zayn had his holy freaking crap moment by blasting Kevin Owens with one of the most devastating haluva kicks I've ever seen in my life. You know what? If I was doing commentary, you probably would have had me here. I wouldn't do the Joey Styles, but you would have had me going, oh my God! What a kick! Michael Bullock. We don't have to talk about the match, but my God, what a kick! He decapitated Kevin Owens.
Well, let's just say, well, Fletch, there's an old saying, and you know where I'm going with this, with the old Gorilla Monsoon saying, don't start something that you can't finish. So, lame duck man, you may have started something that you might not be able to finish. I mean, we know the history of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I mean, yeah, I mean, you and your conspiracy theories, well, yeah, and Kevin Owens like, hey, there's none of it. You lost fair and square. But obviously, Sami Zayn doesn't buy into it, and that's when he hit that haluva kick. Yeah, could we see these two possibly go at it at WrestleMania? A renewal of a rivalry? I could see it going down. Fletch, how about you? And like I said, Sami Zayn may have started something that he may not be able to finish. And when it comes to Mr. Kevin Owens, oh boy.
Oh, he's going to be mad. He's going to be pissed. You do not do that to Kevin Owens and get away with that. No. No, sir. You know somebody's going to get hurt for this. A stunner's coming. And Sami, you better be prepared. Yeah. It seems to me like, yeah, it looks like we got to sell the possible fight at WrestleMania, y'all. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to do this for Fastlane. If they want to do it, okay, fine. But why would you pull the trigger and give it then where you could save it for the grandest stage of them all? I mean, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens is a dream fight for all of us. Even though, yeah, we've seen it so many times, but every time these two guys get it on, it's almost an instant classic. It's an incredible fight, an incredible match. These guys know each other really well. They know each other inside and out. So there's really nothing bad that you're going to see. It's just, can they deliver? I hope so. It'd be a heck of a fight. I know that much. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Well, the match was a dud, obviously, and the worst fight of the night. If we had to sit through that entirely meaningless match between Sami Zayn and Baron and King Corbin to get to Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens on the WrestleMania stage, so be it. Anyone familiar, which of course MF knows these guys' history dating back to Ring of Honor, knows a little more than we do, but anyone familiar, especially MF, with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's work as opponents should be absolutely thrilled over the idea of them clashing on the grand stage. Even if it is in an undercard bout, they have the opportunity to bring their careers full circle, graduating from high school auditoriums to the biggest show of the year in the same venue that hosted Super Bowl 55 last month. The setup was excellent, with Owens trying to talk some sense into his quote-unquote friend, only to drive him fully over the edge. It was a great start to a program that should only intensify in the weeks to come. I think with the way the Fastlane card is set, and considering the fact that, WWE, when it comes to B pay-per-views, usually these things are usually done within about 2.5 hours or so. I think they have enough matches to cover Sunday night. So I think if they're smart, like MF said, they will hold this until WrestleMania. And we know the history. Go back to NXT's takeover. The takeover, I believe it was Our Revolution, when Sami Zayn won the NXT championship, beating Adrian Neville, a.k.a. Pac, in one of the greatest matches in NXT history, 5-star classic. And we all remember what happened after the bout. Kevin Owens, after the celebration, Kevin Owens brutally attacked Sami Zayn, culminating with that pop-up powerbomb on the apron. But this time around, I mean, the roles would be reversed. We would have Kevin Owens as the babyface and Sami Zayn as the heel. So I'll be very intrigued to see how that works. And they had some wars back in the day. I mean, I believe it was Payback 2016. I think those two had an instant classic. So I remember there was one pay-per-view back in 2016 where they tore the damn house down. I think it was that one in Chicago. I think that's the one it was. But nonetheless, Owens and Zayn for Mania, I would love to see it. And if they give them the proper time and build, you got a potential show stealer there, no doubt about it. So, MF, I would be thrilled about this. I mean, and I know you are thrilled about the prospect of seeing these two go at it. I mean, you've seen these two go at it dating back to Ring of Honor when they were Kevin Steen and El Generico, especially in those ladder war bouts that you love so much. So, not much more to say. Let's move on, man.
Yeah, there's not really nothing more to add. You guys kind of touched on it, so absolutely incredible situation to say the very least. So next up we had on the show, let's see, it was a promo segment. This was the sit down between Apollo Crews and Big E. They absolutely tore it. I really enjoyed it. I think it was really good. I love both men. I cannot believe they're not saving this for WrestleMania, guys. I mean, this deserves a WrestleMania stage more than anything else. Hopefully, it's a clunky finish, and we will get the rematch. Next up we had after that was Bianca Belaire versus Shayna Basler. Fight ends in a no contest at 1 minute and 3 seconds. We don't really need to get into that. Then the main event, which was Edge versus J Uso, where the winner will get to be the special enforcer for the Universal title match at Fastlane between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Edge wins the match in 9 minutes and 15 seconds of actual air time. I think it was over 15 to 20 minutes of show because of it. And this was obviously the fight of the night. This was an incredible match. And the right man won. Edge wins the match. Then he was attacked by Roman Reigns. Daniel Bryan was like, you know what? I'm sick of it. I'm going to come after you. Jey Uso cut him off at the pass, and Roman got to Daniel as well. So at the end of the night, it was Roman Reigns standing tall over two beaten men, to say the very least. So that really makes things very interesting for the Universal title fight on Sunday night. And to say the very least, the right outcome was there. It is obviously fight of the night. I'll give this about 3 stars. I thought it was a solid main event. I love the back and forth. There was a little bit of a touch of Shakespearean drama at the end, where that was a nice touch. So at the end of the day, I thought everything was done pretty well. So Anthony, it's yours.
About that Big E and Cruz thing. Big E had that seething anger, that the sort that precedes tears of rage, as he addressed Cruz there. He was great, expressing frustration in a way that everyone can understand and relate to. Speeding around the Thunderdome, confronting Cruz, and not letting the sneak attacking heel wait until Fastlane was exactly what you would expect from a fighter who knows the target of his emotions is in the same building. Big E whooped ass, and the referees pulled him away from his foe to keep some air of mystery for Sunday. What will be interesting to see is if Cruz can exploit these emotions to his advantage, using them against the champion and catching him for the win. It is a story we have seen before, and one that would allow the program to continue into WrestleMania, if nothing else. So that's what I wanted to get that off my chest. As far as what happened with we skipped over that other match with Bianca and Shayna. There wasn't really much there. Natty and Tamina got involved. You can definitely enter their names in the women's tag team division for sure. But as far as the main event goes, I agree. This was the fight of the night. 3 stars. Match was good. The focus remained on the dynamic between Edge and Bryan, and Reigns put an exclamation point on the hype for the Fastlane main event. All of those things considered, this was a successful show closing segment. That Jey Uso was able to shine to the extent he did, really looking good as he dominated the action and put Edge on the defensive, only added to the overall quality of it. On a night when WWE needed to generate excitement for a meaningless, unnecessary show that feels very much like a filler card, they hit it out of the ballpark, creating an air of mystery around the 2 sets of tag titles, adding layers to the women's storylines, further hinting at intensifying dislike between Edge and Bryan and putting Reigns at the forefront as the show came to an end. Very good. SmackDown remains the best property in WWE, and it has not really been close since Reigns returned to the show last August at SummerSlam and started the whole heel stuff, whole Tribal Chief stuff. So, yeah, 3 stars, fight of the night. So, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, 3 stars for the main event. I mean, yeah, definitely a good match, and yeah, to continue to. Yeah, the outcome was basically never in doubt, and now it's going to be interesting to see what happens now that Edge is going to be the special enforcer for the Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns Universal Title match on Sunday. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. But let's get to overall thoughts.
And with that, Anthony Floyer, you lead off.
Yeah, I just mentioned this was a very good show this evening. They actually added a sense of excitement for Fastlane, even though I still think Fastlane is a pointless and unnecessary pay-per-view, but it is what it is. But nonetheless, I mean, definitely a lot of positives came out of this. First and foremost, no Reginald. Thank God. I'm right there with you guys. This was a solid 7 for me. The main event was definitely the fight of the night. A lot of great developments, and yes, we had some duds, whatever, but still good, but barely a good. The wrestling was very bland for the most part, with only Edge and J Uso really trying to turn in something worth paying attention to. This was a lot more about angle advancement and trying to sell Fastlane, and in that respect, Big E and Apollo Crews did a good job building their issue than having a brief, hate-filled brawl. Cruz's accent is still spotty, but the overall edge he's acquired as a character has been fun to see, and he works well with Big E both in the ring and on the mic. The women's situation took up a lot of airtime. As for another iteration of Owens and Zayn, it's hard for those two to turn in anything bad, but we've seen it so much. I do a little bit question how compelling it will be this time around. Hope I'm wrong about it, but we'll see. And the Roman Edge and Bryan triangle didn't have a ton of time to develop, but they've all found ways to make it interesting, and kudos to them for it. So, but I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10, even though we only had really one good match. But the angles, the storyline progression, that's what I'm going to give credit for. So solid 7 out of 10 for me. Michael Bullock, your overall thoughts on this Go Home the Fastlane edition of Friday Night SmackDown?
Yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, yeah, the matches were. I mean, you had one good match, one okay match, but yeah, but the storylines, the angles, were the ones that really made this a good show. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Seven out of 10 is my official rating as well. I think it was a really good match, really good night for SmackDown. They got a lot of momentum going into it, so we'll wait and see how it plays out. So, guys, we're gonna dive right on in. Here we go. It's time for Fastlane, the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. As we said, will be at the WWE Thunderdome, and it's going to be a simulcast event. For most of the world, you can see it on the WWE Network. But for all you fans in the United States, for the first time ever, it will be on Peacock, the NBC Universal streaming website. And you get to see that this Sunday night. So here we go, guys. Here's the fight card. We're starting it off on the SmackDown side. A match that was made official here tonight. Shinsuke Nakamura goes one-on-one with Seth Rollins. This is an interesting fight. Obviously, the big payoff is probably going to be Seth Rollins versus Cesaro at WrestleMania. So this is going to be the first real match that we're going to see how this plays out. I'm going to say it. I think this is going to be an incredible match. I think it's going to be a solid fight. And I'm going to, even though I want Nakamura to win, I kind of feel like this is going to be a Seth Rollins victory. I think they're going to want to give Rollins a big win, let him keep some momentum, because obviously the big payoff, like I said, is a date at WrestleMania with Cesaro. Unless Cesaro gets involved, and maybe that helps Nakamura gets the win. But I think Rollins is going to get the win here. First fight back. So nothing more to say. Anthony Floyo, it's yours. I say Rollins wins this match.
And I agree. With Rollins clearly scheduled to fight Cesaro at WrestleMania, despite that match not being announced yet, it would make little sense for him to lose to Nakamura here. There could perhaps be a scenario where Cesaro interferes and forces a disqualification, but if it gets to a clean finish, Rollins is the one who needs his profile built up after missing months of action while on paternity leave. And of course, the big question will be, will it be anything as good as what we saw between these two the only other time they've met, which was the 2018 Survivor Series at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, when it was a Raw versus SmackDown match. Seth Rollins was with Raw. He was the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. Nakamura, as he's been all along with SmackDown, was the United States Heavyweight Champion at the time. Rollins won the match, but it ended up being about a 4-star or so match. I don't know if we're going to get 4 this time, but we'll see. So, but I'm with you here, MF. I got Seth Rollins winning this match as well, to give him the big rub before he goes into the rumored match with Cesaro at WrestleMania, which has show stealer potential, no doubt about that. So, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, are we going to make it unanimous?
Yes, I'm going to make it unanimous. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins as well. He needs this victory more than Nakamura does, and I think it's only going to build to that potential matchup with Seth Rollins and Cesaro at WrestleMania. So, nothing else to say. Let's move on, Fletch.
All right, this one we can just go very quick. We don't really need to go into much detail on this one. It's going to be Braun Strowman going one-on-one with Shane McMahon. This match is a Monday Night Raw match. Florio, it's yours.
My hope is that this match was put on Fastlane instead of WrestleMania because WWE realized fans were not interested in seeing it after the awful segment 2 weeks ago. However, it seems more likely that this will be a prelude to a Mania bout, further setting it up in storyline. Therefore, despite not knowing exactly how it will happen, the expectation should either be a disqualification or Shayna finding a way to outsmart Strowman and pick up the win. For now, I'm going to go with Shane McMahon here, because if it leads to a Mania bout, then we know Strowman's going to get the payday there. So I think Shane's going to win like by nefarious means or something like that, or it could end in a clunky finish. I don't know, but if I had to pick, I'd have to go with Shayna for now. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, what a mess on Monday Night Raw with these two.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm just gonna say Shane McMahon wins. Fletch, it's yours.
Shane McMahon wins. We're just gonna bury that one. Next up we have is Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton. Yes, you heard me right when I said that. Randy Orton one-on-one with Alexa Bliss for the first time since 2003's Armageddon. We have ourselves an intergender match on pay-per-view. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
You know what, Fletch? I got a funny feeling when it comes to this. I don't think this is really going to be much of a match. Because a certain Fiend is going to come back. I think this is a setup unfortunately, for your man, Randy Orton. And this is where the Fiend is going to come back, and it's going to set up the Fiend and Randy Orton once again, but it's going to be at WrestleMania. And I think it's going to be in the Fiend's Playhouse, or should we say a Firefly Funhouse match. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know how to say this, but I think I think this is going to be a no contest as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. What says you, Fletch?
Yeah, this has the makings of it being thrown out. I honestly don't think it's going to be a match. Look, Alexa Bliss has done everything that she has done to really get under Randy's skin. She's been playing the manipulation game so well on Randy Orton. She Papa Shango'd him, basically making him coughing up black blood. And he hasn't done that once. He's done that twice already. So, I mean, it is definitely a creepy match. It's a weird match. Randy Orton is going in there to thinking that he knows what he's going to do. Orton is sadistic enough that he is going to end her. That's the goal of Randy Orton. He wants to end this. He wants to get rid of the memory of he thought he got rid of the Fiend by burning him alive in that Inferno match. And then everything that went down from basically Alexa begging Orton to light her on fire, never did. To start getting the manipulation that led to him RKOing her during a Raw Women's title match. And then it just got going after that. Orton just kept, poking and prodding and everything else. And soon enough, it was getting to a point where it's like, uh-oh, here we go. It's going to have to come down one way or another. It's coming down on Sunday night. How's this going to play out? The Fiend is definitely coming back. There's no doubts about it. But how and what is it going to look like? That's going to be the big question. I honestly don't know. I think the fight will be a throwout, so it'll be an automatic NA for us. Just the mere fact that they're doing this was shocking even to me. I was like, are you kidding me? Alexa versus Orton? I wonder how far they will go before the Fiend shows up. I think that's the real question. Is it going to be more like a segment, or are they actually going to let them fight and then the Fiend shows up and then that's how the fight gets thrown out? How far is Alexa going to go, and how far will Orton go? We know Orton. Orton doesn't give a damn. He's sadistic enough. He probably could RKO her again before the Fiend shows up. So we'll see. Florio, it's yours.
You call it black blood. I call it lung butter. That's what I call it. But that's the Wayne's World 2 reference.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, from the opening scene. But anywho, WWE is not going anywhere near Bliss and Orton having a real match. This is likely nothing more than an elaborate setup for the Fiend to make a dramatic return, setting up an Orton Fiend match for WrestleMania, Firefly Funhouse style. With that in mind, there's no need to pick a winner here, as it's unlikely the match has any sort of actual finish. So this will be an NA finish. Fiend's coming back. Fiend Orton Mania Firefly Funhouse match. Hopefully it's not. I don't think it's going to be anything like that silliness with Cena last year. I don't think it's going to be anything that silly. So I think it's going to be a lot creepier. That's all.
It's going to be dark. It's going to be creepy. This iteration of the Firefly Funhouse, who knows? They might even harken back to the old hut, to the hut where Orton burned it down on. So you might get some Wyatt family references on this one. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be Oh, this is going to be insane.
And I also think that should it go down, which we all think it will, I think it'll be eons better than that god-awful title match they had at 33.
Oh, yeah. It's almost guaranteed. And they're also talking about that it will be a cinematic match. So this is not even going to happen inside Raymond James. This will probably be somewhere, but they could do it anywhere they wanted to. Have the fight go down, let them do what they need to do, and then you take it from there. But, oh no, this fight is not going in. It's not going anywhere. This fight will happen one way or another. It's going to happen. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. But this could challenge the Boneyard as possibly one of the best cinematic matches WWE has ever produced. I think that's the best way that we could describe it. This could be their version of the Boneyard match from last year's WrestleMania. We know how epic the Boneyard was. This could be sadistic. This could be evil. And with a guy like Randy Orton walking in there, he already has a leery eye on everything. So this is going to be a very different looking Firefly Funhouse this year. So we'll see. All right. So last match that has no title implications, it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. No holds barred. I believe it's Anthony Floyer who leads off on this. So, Tony, it's all yours.
Did you know that there was one other match that was added to this? One other match has been added to the card here. Another title match has been added to the card. I don't know if MF has it on his notes there, but do you by any chance have Riddle and Ali for the U.S. title on your notes there, MF? Because if you don't, it's been added to the card.
No, I have it. I have it on the card. Yep, I have it. Okay. That's why I'm waiting. No, I'm doing all. Sure. Yeah, I'm doing the non-title matches first, and then I was going to get into the title fights. Yep, I got it.
All right, just wanted to be sure on that because it was just literally added a little while ago. But anyways, when it comes to the Raw side of things, this is going to be the fight of the night. There's no question about it. I mean, it's definitely going to challenge SmackDown's main event for sure. I mean, McIntyre losing here simply makes no sense. Sheamus is on one of the best runs of his career in terms of in-ring performances and should be in the WWE title picture. But McIntyre is already established as Bobby Lashley's challenger for that title at WrestleMania. That means he should not be taking a loss here. The match could end in another no contest, forcing here's an interesting scenario I just thought of. That fight could end in another no contest, perhaps forcing a Sheamus McIntyre match on night 1 of WrestleMania, with the winner challenging Lashley on night 2. But that's just a theory. If anyone gets their hand raised at Fastlane, hands down, it's Drew McIntyre. So that would be an interesting scenario, but as the late great Gorilla would always say, highly unlikely. So, but then again, you never know. They could pull it. We've already seen a no contest finish before, so we'll see. But for right now, I have to go with Drew McIntyre to win this match. It will hands down be the fight of the night on the Raw side of things. And Bullock, if it's anything like their previous 2 fights, this one could be even more special. But McIntyre wins. He needs the momentum, especially with him going against Lashley for the title, which I believe he's going to get the title back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this could definitely be another really good match. I think the only reason why I think it'll still be a good match, but the only reason why I think it could be better because it's just going to be a regular one-on-one. But we'll wait and see. But I'm with you. I got Drew McIntyre winning this one. There's no way they can have him lose going into that WWE title match against Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. So nothing else to say. Fletch, it's yours.
You guys are absolutely right. I think there would be no point and no reason why you would do such a thing like that. I'm with you guys on this one as well. Drew McIntyre wins the match. All right, now let's get into the 4 title matches that will be on the card. Yes, Anthony Floyo kind of screwed the pooch on me and decided to drop one on us ahead of time. But yes, Anthony, you are correct. Riddle will put the United States title on the line against Mustafa Ali. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
What do you? We're talking about Riddle versus Ali, right?
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to be sure. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Ali definitely got. I mean, he got the win over Riddle in a non-title match. So this definitely put him in line for a shot at the title. So, but yeah, I just don't see Riddle losing this one. I got Matt Riddle retaining the U.S. title. So Fletch, it is yours.
I agree. I got Matt Riddle as well. I just feel like right now Riddle deserves the win here, so I just don't see him losing it here. So yeah, I'm with you as well. Bullock, I'm gonna go with Riddle to successfully defend. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Let me see. Yeah. Riddle simply is not losing the title right now, and especially not against Mustafa Ali. Ali's main story is his issues with members of the Retribution faction failing him, with Riddle simply a representation of those failings. This match feels tacked onto the show after Ali already lost the title match on Raw with no real reason for a rematch whatsoever. But, it's a pointless and unnecessary filler match. But then again, you never know. They might give us the good match here, so we'll see. But nonetheless, winner and still United States Heavyweight Champion. It is going to be Riddle. Michael Bullock, hit me one time. You know you wanna. You do it better than anybody.
Bro.
Doesn't it sound just like him?
It does. It does. It does. You do it pretty good there, Bullock. You do it really good. All right. So next up we had was the women's tag team title match, as it will be Shayna Basler and Nia Jax with Reginald putting the titles on the line against Bianca Belaire and SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks. Oh man, this is going to be very interesting because there's so many ways this could go. Obviously, if Sasha and Bianca wins the belts, they're the reigning tag champions, but they're going to be facing each other at WrestleMania. So you got that. You got the unpredictability of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Can they be a cohesive unit going into this title match? Because it looks like there's friction there. The Reginald factor. What type of impact will he have on this title match? So there's a lot of ways this can go. I'm going to say winners of the bout, and still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler successfully defending. Anthony, it's yours.
WWE far too frequently gets its women's singles champions involved in the tag team title picture. And here we are once again, not only with 2 WrestleMania combatants teaming up unnecessarily, but doing it for the second straight month. There is absolutely no reason to change the titles here. And using a tag team loss as a feud kickstarter for Banks and Bellaire is as unnecessary as the match occurring in the first place. There are plenty of other teams who should be going after the titles at WrestleMania, and there's no reason to double book the champ. So, winners and still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. If that little runt Reginald gets involved, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one who ends up being responsible for it. So, It was so refreshing not to see that James Ellsworth 2.0 wannabe there tonight, but I got a feeling he's going to be rearing his ugly head on Sunday night. So, not much more to say. Jackson Basler retain. Mega Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler to retain the women's tag team titles. I mean, to put them on Banks and Belair when they're going to be going head to head at WrestleMania makes no sense to me. So this is an easy choice for me. So Fletch, let's move on.
It's time that we go to the Intercontinental Championship match, as it will be Apollo Crews going one-on-one with Big E. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
Oh, my. This is the low match on the card where the outcome is truly up in the air. Theoretically, Crews has lost to Big E too many times to take another L here, especially considering his remixed character and what appears to be a big push coming his way. However, Big E has been champion just about 3 months, and there's not a great reason to take the title off of him ahead of the biggest event of the year without a planned main event push ahead. Switching the title to Crews and back to Big E just 3 weeks later at WrestleMania feels like an unnecessary effort. But it does feel a little premature to take the belt off of Big E, but Crews' transformation feels like it demands a victory. He lost repeatedly before taking a full step into being a heel. So if a complete overhaul doesn't lead to him getting a win, how effective was the move? With 2 nights to fill for WrestleMania, it would be easy enough to put the belt on Crews before moving it back to Big E in April, establishing that Crews' character change was meaningful. Oh, this is so tough. This is the toughest match to call, honestly. Quite frankly, I'd like to see this end in a no contest or some sort of a screwy finish. Book a rematch at WrestleMania and then give Apollo the big moment. That's what I would like to see. So for that to happen, either the match has to end screwy, which it could, or Big E somehow finds a way to win and maybe Apollo goads him into a match. But based on my personal preference, I'm gonna say Big E will win this match. But if Apollo were to win the title here, I would not at all be surprised. But if I have to pick a winner, I have to go with Apollo. I should go with Big E rather. But I will go with Big E to successfully defend, because I got a feeling we're gonna get something at Mania with these two, regardless of what happens. But me personally, I want to see Big E go over here, or even end in a clunky finish. I'd actually be okay with that, even though we do frown upon clunky finishes. The only way we don't is if there ends up being a payoff. And for me, I would rather Apollo win the title at WrestleMania. Give him a big moment. That's just how I feel. I'm reluctantly going to go with Big E, but I'm not overly confident. Bullock, out of all the matches on this card, this one is hands down the toughest one to call. Very tough to pick a winner here, but I'm going with Big E reluctantly.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna reluctantly go with Big E as well to retain. But I would not be surprised if Apollo Crews does go over and become the champion. So, but I'm gonna go with Big E. So, Fletch, what says you?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm gonna go with Big E as well. It's a tough call. There's no doubt about it. This is wicked tough, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna be the ultimate payoff. I think, like you said, I think that we could get an overbooked finish where it's gonna lead to something else down the line. I could see that happening. There's no doubt about that. But for now, I'm gonna say Big E wins, but I would not be surprised if Apollo walks out of here with the belt. So, all right, guys, main event of the evening, Universal title on the line, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. Special enforcer is the one and only Edge. Michael Bullock, you lead off on the main event of the evening.
Man, oh man, this this is something that could. This is going to be very interesting to see, but oh man, I'm going to go with Roman Reigns to retain the Universal Championship. But I do see some kind of a screwy finish happening here. I just don't know how it's going to go down. So I'm going with Roman Reigns here. So Fletch, it is yours.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. This is an easy call for me. Roman Reigns is going into WrestleMania as the champion one way or another. I just don't see why they would not have him lose the title to Daniel Bryan at this point in the game, unless they're going to set up a triple threat at Mania, which is very possible. Winner, still Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Florio.
Even if WWE decides to add Daniel Bryan to the WrestleMania match between Roman Reigns and Edge, it would be shocking. It would be very shocking if they chose to take the title off of a dominant heel champion going into the biggest event of the year. If Edge or Bryan take the title off of Reigns, it will and should be done in front of a live crowd to create a WrestleMania moment. The action should be hot, and Bryan will likely seem to be just on the verge of winning the title. But between Reigns' camp and the special enforcer, Edge, there are enough ways for Bryan to end up taking the loss here. So, Roman Reigns, yes, I agree with you, MF. Winner and still the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. But MF, do not be surprised. I'm going to go on the record here. I think Bryan will get added to that match one way or another. Yep. And it's gonna set up Reigns, Bryan, and Edge. It's going to be WrestleMania 30 2.0. Simple as that.
Oof. What a matchup that's going to be as well. Holy cow, what a matchup that's going to be. And also remember, we could still get J Uso in it too, because you know that you were hinting about that J Uso also deserves an opportunity. Is it possible that maybe Jay gets added? And yeah, we could have ourselves a possible fatal four-way for the Universal title. It'd be an epic match.
But very possible. But let me just say one quick thing before we wrap up, MF, and that is, should it be Reigns, Edge, and Bryan? I mean, this is basically WrestleMania 30 all over again. I mean, Daniel Bryan, the yes man, the underdog. Maybe not as quite as it was at 30. He was the underdog of underdogs at 30. But he would be the sentimental favorite. You would have Edge as the Batista in this sense, the Hall of Famer, the part-timer coming back to try to get one last run at glory, get the title back that he never really lost because he had to relinquish it because of retirement. And then you got Roman Reigns in the role of Randy Orton as the quote-unquote face of the company.
Yeah. And the most dominating champion of the company right now. And
even more dominant than Orton was.
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying, and I don't know how you feel about this, but even before the match was supposed to happen at WrestleMania, the betting line actually had Roman Reigns successfully defending.
That's right.
Regardless of who it was.
Right.
So, is it possible the Tribal Chief has one more epic moment in his arsenal at Mania? We'll see.
Maybe.
But it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to wait and see how that plays out on Sunday night. And we will talk about it on Sunday night. As at 10:30, possibly. As it will be the recap of Fastlane. We will talk about all the matches as we will be hyping the road to WrestleMania 3 weeks away. And we're going to go from there. So, thank you, Anthony Florio. Thank you, Michael Bullock, as always. Dee Dee Woodson will be joining us on Sunday for that recap. So, until then, we'll see you guys on Sunday night for the recap of Fastlane. Until then, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Have a good night. So long for now, and we will see you on Sunday.
Goodbye.